Hey everybody, it's Aaron Hicks here, and today we're going to be talking about the book 1984 by George Orwell, and also talking a little bit about American politics. I first read this book actually probably in 2000, and it really reminded me of socialist Germany in the late 80s, right before the fall of the Berlin Wall and the Stasi's. If you look into that, I also would suggest watching this movie called The Lives of Others. When you read this book, the lives of others in this book go almost hand in hand. But again, I read this book recently and was shocked to find a lot of parallels with the United States, which scared me. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But if you've never read this book, I'm kind of going to give the entire book away, so if you don't want to hear it all, then leave, because here it comes. In this book, you follow a man named Winston Smith who lives in Oceania. And basically his job is to destroy and rewrite history to better accommodate what the Oceania party believes to be right. Whatever best suits the party, he writes. If they were at war with East Asia and then they become at war with Eurasia, he rewrites history to where they were never at war with East Asia, they were always at war with Eurasia. And that's his job, to create false history. Manuel Goldstein is a main character in this book too. He's a fictitious character that's created by the government to create hate and fear in the eyes of the people, and to have somebody who stands against the party for them to hate, to make them further love the party. Winston doesn't see things quite the way everybody else sees it. He is guilty of what's called thought crimes, which are any thoughts against the government, or Big Brother, BB, so they call it in the book. When somebody is guilty of thought crimes in the world of 1984, they are taken, they are tortured, and eventually murdered. But Winston doesn't seem to be bothered by this whatsoever. He is who he is, and he can't control the way he feels. He has nightmares of being a child and watching his mother be eaten by rats after being killed by BB. Winston ends up meeting and falling in love with a young lady named Julia, and they carry on an affair for several months, and eventually are caught by the thought police, and then are taken to the Ministry of Love and tortured incredibly for months. They suffer from emaciation. They starve them, they electrocute them, they stretch them across boards, beat them, kick them, everything that you could possibly imagine to do to torture somebody, basically making them confess to everything they had done, things they hadn't done. They confess to contracting syphilis and get purposely given into inter-party members when they didn't actually do that. They confessed all this stuff, but they had sworn their loyalty to one another. Even though they hadn't seen each other for months, they still did not give in. Well, eventually the torture becomes too much, and even that breaks. And that's kind of an interesting question. I was thinking, we talk a lot about torturing prisoners and terrorists, people who are coming to our country or planning to come to our country and do these things to us, and we use torture tactics to get them to confess to these things. And that pretty much makes it not viable. Like, we can't take anything that's taken from a torture confession to be real. How much do you need to be tortured to turn your back on your beliefs? Not very much. It's not going to take a whole lot of breaking your fingers or peeling skin off your bones to make you turn your back on your beliefs. And not only that, like, you turn your back on your family and your loved ones. We like to think that we wouldn't. We'd like to think that we wouldn't do those kinds of things. But if you're not being killed and constantly tortured and having unimaginable things being done to you, being castrated, having your fingers broken, being stripped down naked, humiliated, raped, these kind of things, loyalty only goes so far. It's hard to wish more pain on yourself when there's a way to stop the pain, and the way of doing that is to negate the things that you really truly believe. This is the way they stay in power. In the book, they stay at war by having a general understanding with the other two superpowers that they have to stay in war and always be winning but never actually win to stay in power, and they have an understanding with the other two countries that this is what they're going to do. They all three are under understanding to keep their individual people in line. They will always continuously be at war with each other, but never actually winning any war. We found a different way to stay at war forever. The way that we're staying at war forever is we're not fighting a country, we're fighting an idea. Whether the idea is right or wrong is not even relevant. The fact that we're fighting an idea means that we're going to be fighting forever. You can't fight ideas. If we're going to go around the world and fight every person that's willing to die, not to have their family subjected to Western civilization, we're going to be at war forever. Because people are always going to be willing to die not to subject their family to Western civilization. I'm not saying that it's right, I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that if that is the fact, which is what we're doing, we're at war with an idea, an extremist group of people who are an idea, not a country or even an organization. We can't crush these people because they're not even organized. A lot of these people work in singular or even very small cells. They're not sitting in these giant camps, which we thought we blew up a long time ago. They're sitting in individual homes and they're plotting individual attacks. These are people that are just, it's an idea, which is impossible. You cannot crush an idea. And we chose to go into war with an idea, which means that we'll always be at war with the idea unless we just give up on it. Which we don't do. It's America. We don't quit. We don't give up. We'll crush the idea eventually. That idea will cease to exist. And then we'll erase it from the history books. We'll find Winston Smith. We'll make him real. And he'll erase the idea from ever existing.